Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video I'm going to be bringing you a brand new sculpt. It's called a Selix and it's just a fantasy creature that I've made myself. So stay tuned. As usual, I'll be painting the eyes, nose and mouth area with my black chromacryl acrylic paint. So I'm starting off painting the eyeball itself, and I'm doing a black sclera type of eyeball because I really wanted it to be sort of a mystical sort of creature. So I'm just painting the little nostril area, and I was sort of drawn to a goat's nose for this sculpt, so it's fairly small and only really has two little nostrils.
We were trying to really cross the two things over, the acoustic instruments and kind of samples.
I also made the mouth quite small, so it's kind of more like a horse mouth where you can only really see the opening. Alright, there's the paint down. I won't need to put a second layer on because it's quite good paint. And we're moving on to painting the hooves. So a Selix has just horse-like hooves. So I'll be painting them just plain black. And again, I'm just using that same black chromacryl acrylic paint. Alright, all painted, and moving on to sculpting some horns. So a Selix has two horns. Usually males have larger ones and females have smaller ones. So I'm just sculpting some black horns using a air dry clay that I got from Etsy, and I'm just adding in some shimmer sort of effect so it gives it a little bit of sparkle once it's dry. So what I'm doing is slinging the clay out to a long worm and then twisting it on itself so it gives a spiral effect, and it's a good way if you wanted sort of a dragon's horn or any sort of horn with a spiral in it. And I'm just using that same tacky fabric glue that I use on attaching the fur just to attach these horns so that it has something to stick to. I'm not sure if you can quite see the sparkle in it here, but I tried to get it, but if you can, it's great. If you can't, meh. So I'm just working in that clay with my needle tool into the actual resin piece so it looks a bit more fluid when the fur goes on. And there it is, the first little Selix ready to be put together. So I'm using quite a short fur for this guy, and it's got a black undertone with a golden sort of shimmer to it, and I really like this fur and I thought it would work really well for a small doll. And as you can see, I've already drawn my patterns out on the back of the fabric, and I'm just going to cut it out using a sharp pair of scissors. And remember, I'm only cutting the backing of the fabric, not the actual pile, because then it will lose half of the fur. So I've cut a lot of fur in my time, and the reason why I go fast is because I know what I'm doing and I've cut it a million times. So the Selix has a thin little tail, so I'm only cutting a tiny little strip here for the tail, and I'm going to sew it up by hand when it's on the actual armature. So my bodies usually consist of 4 parts, the left side, the right side, underbelly and the tail. I'm now going to pin them together and sew them up using a sewing machine, and I'll be back to sew up the rest of it by hand. So here's a little tail that I'm sewing up with the lattice stitch, and I'm just going to sew up the top end of it first before I actually put it onto the armature piece and then sew it up.